What's up? So I so I recently took a vow of silence for 7 days, and I want to share with you my experience and what I learned from this whole vow. Now, I didn't change anything in my life as far as not going to work or not communicating to people. I didn't go into the woods for 7 days in solitude to have the vow of silence like some Native American traditions do. The Native American traditions and, traditions all over the world practiced vows of silence, for self-empowerment, reconnecting with yourself, things of that nature. But I didn't do it in solitude. I still went to work. I still went out to events. Shout outs to E-Turn. She had her album release, and I went out there with a pad. And that's what I did. I just walked around with a notepad if I had a notepad. If not, I just stayed silent. And if somebody asked me a question or somebody talked to me, I would write it down on my cell phone and show them. And that's how I could communicate. But I've had a lot of revelations during the whole vow of silence. Now, my initial intention with the vow was to just center myself and to be very observant of my thoughts, because thoughts turn into words and words turn into, ripples that affect everybody. And another intention was also to power up my throat chakra, because I'm an MC and I'm talking and I'm always using my voice, and I felt depleted. It was to the point where I was physically losing my voice. So I felt like it was that time I needed to do it. I should have done it maybe earlier, whatever, there goes my ego again, but I had to do it. So I said, fuck it. I made the announcement. People were looking at me like I was crazy. Some people were looking at me like an inspiration. Everybody had the different perceptions on what it was. But I learned that silence is powerful. Silence speaks to people on the most primal, innate level. Because even though I wasn't saying anything, people heard my presence. Sometimes people would just start conversations with me and I wouldn't even say a word. And because I was just silent, some people felt uncomfortable, because it was almost like I was a mirror showing them what they really are. Our spirit speaks in silence. This is why we meditate. And I can honestly say the whole 7 days was a full meditation for me. That completely transformed my thinking and the way that I consciously choose to communicate with people. I definitely recommend this for everybody, to do this at least one time in your life, especially if you're an extroverted person. Now, that it's not bad to be extroverted and be social. It's actually a very good thing, but you need balance. You need to walk that middle path. That's why Jesus said that the path to heaven is narrow, because the middle path is narrow. It's basically a straight line, and anything aside from that straight line is on one side or the other. You're either extroverted or introverted, and you need to find that balance within yourself. I've had deep conversations with people. Shout outs to Nehemiah and a couple other people that were with me during this vow. I have pages upon pages of just deep dialogue, and I felt that I could communicate clearer on paper than when I was just blabbing and just non-filtering. I'm usually a centered person, but there are times when I do say things without thinking, and it's good to be spontaneous. It's good to have those moments, but it's also important to be conscious of your spontaneity, to be conscious of everything that you do, because you are consciousness. And when you're not conscious, that's when you fall into imbalance, because you're going back, you're regressing. Now, during my silent vow, I've inspired many people. This wasn't my intention. My intention wasn't to show you how spiritual I am. The intention wasn't to inspire you to be a better person. It was a completely self-centered thing. I was doing it for me. And yet I was able to impact so many people. What's funny is when people started to confide in me, mind you, I'm not saying a word, but people started to confide in me and open up their closet to me, and they felt more comfortable doing it with me just because of my silence. And my silence allowed me to be more present, to hear, to listen to what they were saying. And I would give them words of encouragement, very concise, little phrases, but I feel that was more powerful than if I was to just verbally speak to them in a way. My family said that they felt me more when I was silent in the house. My presence was stronger. My aura started to get stronger. And I feel stronger as an individual because, there's some people were like, oh, why aren't you talking? And I just, I wrote down, I'm taking a vow of silence. And people were just like, all right, I'm done talking with you. You've gone off the edge. Like, somebody get this dude to a mental hospital. People thought I was doing it for religion, all these things. And it was very interesting to see people's reaction to it, because through their reaction, I knew exactly where their consciousness was. They opened up their mind to me without them even knowing. Aside from that, I booked a couple of gigs and made money while being silent. Silence is powerful. We all need to practice silence in our lives. There's too much noise and clutter out there that if you're not careful, you're going to get lost in the noise, and then you're going to think you're noise, and then you thinking that you're noise is going to make you think that you're crazy. You are not noise. You are not your thoughts. You are the divine silence. And I leave you with this. Words are the most powerful things in this world. Because words are bulletproof, yet they can touch you. Words are invisible, yet they can leave an impact. And words touch people on the deepest level of their being. So be conscious of your thoughts and your words, because your thoughts and your words turn into deeds. Be conscious of what you put in your mind and what you put out into the world. There is no right time to take a vow of silence. You're not going to be like, oh, my schedule has cleared up. No, you will never find the time if you're trying to do it like that. You just have to do it. Take a pen and a pad with you wherever you go if you plan on doing this. And I love you guys. Peace.
Every question I ever had, any idea about what was what or how things worked, was answered immediately. It's like you tap into the universal database. That any information